If Exodus was about liberation and Leviticus about sanctification, Numbers is the saga of the journey. The people of Israel, who left Egypt with promises of a promised land, now face the harsh reality of the desert. Thousands of people, an entire nation, are on the move, but the journey is more than physical. It is a test of faith, a battlefield against impatience, rebellion, and fear. This is not a bookkeeping book, despite its name. It's the story of a people who, on the verge of realizing their dreams, almost completely destroy them, and the epic account of murmuring miracles and the unwavering loyalty of God, even when His people fail. The book begins with a demonstration of divine order. God orders Moses to take a census of all men in Israel, 20 years and older, who are fit for war. The result is an impressive army of over 600,000 men, in addition to women, children, and a large crowd of other nations who joined them. The camp is organized in a military and strategically ordered fashion. The 12 tribes are arranged around the tabernacle, which stands at the center as the heart of the nation. The tribe of Levi, which does not go to battle, camps immediately around the sanctuary, protecting God's sacred presence from any profanation. Order was essential for the nation's holiness. Each tribe had its position and its banner, an entire nation on the march, but under God's command. The census was not just a number, but confirmation that God was with them, transforming former slaves into a powerful army. They were ready. The journey to the promised land, Canaan, was about to begin. But the journey, however, is marked by the tragedy of human rebellion. Right at the beginning, the people's impatience and longing for the illusory comfort of Egypt manifest. They grumble against Moses and Aaron, complaining about the lack of meat and the manna diet, the bread that God gave them daily. In response, God sends quails in such abundance that the people drown in their own greed, and God's plague strikes them severely. At another time, Moses' own family turns against him. Miriam and Aaron question Moses' leadership and authority, and their rebellion is immediately confronted by God. The glory of God descends in the pillar of cloud, and God's voice thunders, defending Moses. The Lord punishes Miriam with leprosy, a visible and painful demonstration of the impurity of her rebellion, but restores her after Moses' intercession. The biggest rebellion, and the most tragic, occurs when spies are sent to explore Canaan. 12 spies, one from each tribe, spend 40 days exploring the land. They return with enormous clusters of grapes and confirm that the land truly flows with milk and honey. But 10 of them bring back a terrifying report, focused on the giants, the sons of Anak, and the fortified cities. They sow fear and despair in the people's hearts, saying, "Before them, we felt like grasshoppers, and that is what we were to them." Or, only Joshua and Caleb, with unwavering faith, insist that they can take the land, for the Lord is with them. They tear their clothes and plead with the people not to rebel against the Lord. But the majority, overcome with panic, wish to appoint a new leader and return to Egypt. The consequence is devastating. God, in His justice and with deep sorrow, declares that the entire generation, 20 years and older, who doubted and rebelled, will not enter the promised land. They will wander in the desert for 40 years. 1 year for each day the spies explored the land, until the unbelieving generation dies out. The story of Numbers is a powerful reminder that faith is essential. It challenges us to trust in God, even when the path is difficult and the promise seems distant. If this journey of faith inspires you to continue, please leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stages of our series. And don't forget to comment on which story of overcoming in the Bible is your favorite. The journey continues with more incidents of rebellion. Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, Levite and Reubenite leaders, rise up against the authority of Moses and Aaron, claiming that Moses has exalted himself over the congregation. The rebellion is so serious that God intervenes dramatically, causing the earth to open up and swallow Korah and his followers, swallowing families and tents, leaving a hole in the ground as proof of his authority. At another time, the people complain about the lack of water, and Moses, in an act of frustration and anger, strikes the rock twice, instead of speaking to it as God commanded. For this disobedience, an act of distrust, Moses also loses the right to enter the promised land. Despite all human failure, God continues to provide for and protect his people. He uses a bronze serpent lifted on a pole to heal those who were bitten by venomous snakes. He defeats the enemy kings like the Amorites and Bashanites who try to impede Israel's march. And in one of the most fascinating points of the book, the story of Balaam, a prophet paid by the king of Moab to curse Israel, unfolds. God uses a donkey to speak to Balaam, opening the prophet's eyes to see the angel of the Lord who was in the way. 3 times Balaam tries to curse Israel, but 3 times God turns the curse into a blessing, proving that he is the protector of his people and that no one can go against his will. As the first generation dies in the desert, a new generation arises. They are more obedient and more focused. The book of Numbers concludes with the preparation of this new generation for the conquest of Canaan. A second census is taken, showing that the people, despite the losses, are still numerous and strong. Joshua is commissioned as the new leader, and the laws of purification, inheritance, and festivals are reaffirmed. The nation of Israel is on the edge of the Jordan River, ready to enter the land that God promised their fathers. The book of Numbers is a reminder that God's promises are faithful, but they require faith and obedience. The journey may be long and difficult, but God's providence is unwavering. The book of Numbers is the story of a people who failed, but of a God who does not fail. It shows us the seriousness of sin and the unwavering divine faithfulness. If you felt inspired by this story of faith, perseverance, and the unwavering providence of God, leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video in the series, where we will delve into the book of Deuteronomy, Moses' last message.